Welcome back to my channel, Star Booze.
He was the hottie from Hollywood who captured spectators' attention with his charm, and memorable parts in songs such as Some Like It Hot and Spartacus. However, behind the lights and luxury, the latter years of Curtis's life revealed a lot of different tale. One characterized by isolation, abandoned buildings, as well as a death that closed the curtain silently on one of the most complicated lives in Tinseltown. In the video for today, we examine the Tony Curtis's intriguing duality, his ascent to fame, his million-dollar cinema and art endeavors, as well as the final direction his story went. Let's explore the actual life of this Hollywood icon. Tony Curtis, the renowned American performer whose career lasted almost 60 years, accumulated $60 million in net worth at the time of 2010 saw his passing. Renowned for his captivating on-screen persona and adaptability, Curtis appeared in more than 140 movies and TV series, starting his career in Hollywood in 1949. He became well-known in the late 1950s, with exceptional achievements in Sweet 1957's Smell of Success, Some Like It, The Defiant Ones, 1958 Warm, 1959, as well as Spartacus 1960. These positions not only solidified his status as a prominent man of the highest caliber, yet earned him high salaries as well. When his career was at its peak, Curtis regularly collaborated with big production companies like Universal Pictures and Warner Brothers, effortlessly changing between action, drama, and comedy genres, which makes him a favorite of both viewers and directors. Beyond, he co-founded Curtly Acting Productions, acting in the capacities of producer, which allowed him to diversify his revenue and granted him artistic authority over multiple projects. Along with Curtis's efforts on screen demonstrated his dedication to visual artist. His artwork displayed in well-known galleries, such as he was brought by the Metropolitan Museum of Art, both important acknowledgement and money reward. Curtis became more concentrated as he grew older on his creations, which turned into a significant revenue stream and personal contentment in his final years. Tony Bernard Schwartz was born in June as Curtis, New York City, on the 3rd of 1925, emerged from modest and frequently tragic origins to become among the most enduring in Hollywood stars. 3 sons were born, the oldest being Jewish immigration from Hungary. Curtis spoke exclusively during his early years Hungarian. At a certain age, life took a challenging turn. He and his sibling, Julius, were assigned to an orphanage because to the fact that their parents could no longer sustain them. A tragedy hit once more following Julius's death in a mishap only 4 years later. While, when he was a teenager, Curtis momentarily fell in with a neighborhood gang, but a nearby sent him to a Boy Scout to step in. Camp, a pivotal moment that aided Root, his life. Curtis went to high school at Seward Park, where he became interested in performing following an appearance in a school production. When World War II broke out, he enlisted in the U.S. Navy and worked on board in the Pacific. He saw the USS Proteus, where he saw in Tokyo Bay, the Japanese surrender. Following the conflict, he went back home and made use of utilizing the GI Bill to study at the City College of New York. Then received acting instruction at the New School of Social Research in Village of Greenwich. As of 1948, Curtis relocated to Hollywood, renaming himself from Tony Curtis to Bernard Schwartz, and agreed to a deal with Universal Images. He started out playing minor parts in movies such as City Across and Criss Cross the River in 1949, although it climbed swiftly through the ranks. His initial leadership appeared in The Prince Who Was a Prince, 1951, Thief, and he quickly gained notoriety in movies that range from action from humor and drama to adventure. By the middle of the 1950s, Curtis was one of Hollywood's most well-liked celebrities, starring in popular films like As Trapeze, Houdini, and The Vikings. Audiences and critics His tremendous range was seen by both parties. He starred in the film Sweet Smell of 1957 Achievement, and the Academy Award suggested the following for The Defiant One's Year, in which he co-starred with Sidney Poitier. After that, Curtis changed, smoothly transitioning into humor, demonstrating his sparkle in timeless songs like Some Like It, Operation Petticoat, and Hot. All through, he continued to be in demand in the 1960s with parts in The Great Race, Spartacus, and the single, Girl and Sex. As his profession, as he grew older, Curtis tried more serious content. In 1968, he astounded viewers with his eerie performance demonstrating in The Boston Strangler that his ability to be dramatic persisted. Sharp. The 1970s and 1980s, however, delivered. Fewer blows, Curtis stayed engaged in television and movies. He took positions in a broad range of projects from thrillers, horror films, and war dramas movies such as The Manitou. His subsequent profession appeared in productions in Europe, and independent motion pictures such as Naked Play It to the Bone in New York. The last time Curtis appeared on film was in David and Fatima, 2008, concluding a career spanning almost 60 years. Despite the highs and lows, Curtis never stayed out of the limelight. His charm, skill, and perseverance were helpful. He became well-known and one of the most identifiable faces of the 20th century American film of the 20th century. Additionally, with all the accomplishments he has made, he also possesses numerous important properties, something we'll discuss later. Older Southern California mansion. At the peak of his career, the renowned actor Tony Curtis was pleased to get one of the most well-known and opulent in Los Angeles residences, Owlwood Estate. Situated at the ultra-modern 141 South Carrollwood Drive affluent Home Hills neighborhood, the mansion has traditionally served as a representation of the golden period of Hollywood. Its background, splendor, and a list of well-known owners made it one of the most recognizable Southern estates, California. Constructed in 1936, the estate was created by Robert D. Farquhar, an expert in renowned architect well known for his creations on lavish structures. The house was modeled after the Italian Renaissance with elaborate architectural elements and opulent interior areas. Around it was the biggest, at 12,600 square feet, Los Angeles private residence when it was finished. An absolute stunner, even in theater magnificent homes. Curtis bought Owlwood in 1966, not long after he separated from Janet Leigh as another cinema star. Later, he referred to it as the largest mansion I've ever owned, a declaration that complimented both its size and its importance. The mansion comprised 2 main bedrooms, 6 extra staff bedrooms, 7 complete restrooms, as well as 5 halves. The device had a full-size pool, a tennis court, and AA home theater, a large pool house, and even a personal elevator. Every indication of opulence that catered to the wealthy and Hollywood way of life. The time it took for other celebrities to be attracted to the property's charm. Early in the 1970s, Curtis tossed a celebration of a birthday at the home that was pop icon Cher was there. She was really impressed with the property that she indicated a desire to purchase it. Despite Curtis's initial reluctance to give up the house, he finally concurred. Cher and Sonani Bono, her ex-husband, purchased the property for $750,000, which was a substantial amount at the time, and made extensive remodeling. Their later, elegant updates were included in Architectural Digest, solidifying EI's role of the estate in popular culture. However, Cher and Curtis weren't the only notable people to live in Owlwood. Owners from the past and present included co-founder of the 20th century, Joseph Shank-William, a millionaire oil magnate, and Fox Keck. Every owner made a distinct impression on the property, contributing to its fascinating history. The Owlwood estate now consists of more than merely a mansion. It's a fragment of history of Hollywood. Over the past few years, the property has been listed for costs that can reach $180 million, generating news not just for its outrageous price, but for its legacy as among the most glitzy in Los Angeles residences. The tenure of Tony Curtis at Owlwood marked the height of his career and life, a phase characterized by celebrity, achievement, and the type of luxury that very few people ever experience. The estate is a permanent throughout his narrative, a reminder of the splendor of the heyday of Hollywood. In his later years, Tony Curtis looked for comeliness outside of the flashing cameras and events for celebrities. Early on, he and his spouse, Jill, relocated to Henderson, Nevada, seeking a more tranquil way of life. They made their home in the high-end Sun City Anthem neighborhood well known unofficially as Dell's Millionaire. Roweb development is praised for its opulent residences and tranquil surroundings. The people that live at 2598 Forest City, The Drive, provided expansive views of the surrounding valley and the Las Vegas Strip, supplying Curtis with a charming and peaceful last chapter, distant from the Hollywood glare, abandoned home in the U.S. However, the precise duration of Curtis's possession not disclosed to the public, although it is commonly agreed that the land was originally he spent a portion of his life in the U.S. But now, the opulent house tells quite a distinct tale, one of time, lost splendor, and desertion. From the exterior, the house emits eerie initial impression. Towering, once majestic and commanding, columns are now covered in untamed vines. The scarlet brick exterior, probably immaculate in its heyday, is currently layered with graffiti, only traces of which remain the original elegance of the home. The gates of iron that might have formerly greeted visitors now protect just the shadows, and quiet. Entering, one finds a striking contrast to Curtis's existence once existed. He and his spouse, Jill, co-founded the Sanctuary and Rescue for Shiloh Horses in Nevada. This haven offers safety to mules and horses who have actually mistreated, deserted, or ignored. The Sanctuary embodies his altruistic disposition and commitment to the care of animals, providing a secure setting in which these creatures can get well and have a dignified life. Furthermore, Curtis backed the Budapest's Pickler Institute, a children's shelter devoted to providing young people who are at risk. This participation demonstrated his wider interest for children, welfare, and dedication to enhancing the lives of people who are less fortunate. By means of these charity activities, Tony Curtis changed his legacy from one over-renowned actor into a dedicated cultural and humanitarian supporter. Private life. Tony Curtis spent his days as dramatic both on and off screen, characterized by 6 marriages, individual challenges, and times of intense heartache. His initial, and possibly most, the well-known union was with actress Janet. He married Lee in 1951, at the height of his burgeoning fame. At the time, Curtis was bound by a universal contract. Global, a studio renowned for strictly regulating the public perceptions of its actors. Executives from the studio were adamantly opposed to and afraid of the union would lessen Curtis's attractiveness to women, admirers. They even threatened to do so, destroy his career and return him to the Bronx if he actually carried out the marriage. In spite of the extreme pressure, after eloping, Curtis and Lee got married. By a Greenwich, Connecticut, Judge Jerry Lewis, their buddy and comedian, was present for the brief ceremony. Curtis and Lee rose to prominence in Hollywood as most admired pairs, frequently referred to called the golden couple of the industry. They had a pair of daughters, Kelly and Curtis, Jamie Lee, the latter of whom would eventually become a well-known Hollywood star in her own right. Considering their union following their divorce in 1962, Curtis acknowledged that the breakup left him devastated. "I had a strong devotion to Janet, and most importantly to my line of work," he stated. However, that golden glow started in her eyes to diminish. "I came to see that Whatever I was, Janet didn't think I was enough. I was hurt by that. A lot. Shortly following the divorce, once more, Curtis was married, this time to his 18-year-old daughter, Christine Kaufman co-star, from the movie Terrace, who is German Bulba. He stated that he was married to Lee, had concluded a year prior. Curtis, 2 daughters were born to Kaufman and Alexandra Algra as well. But their union was brief, concluding in 1968. Following their split, Kaufman returned to her acting career after Halt while they are together. Afterwards, Curtis married Leslie in the same year, Alan. 2 sons were born to the couple, Nicholas Benjamin, as well. Nicholas, their son, sadly passed away from heroin use in 1994 to overdose at the age of 23. Curtis later talked candidly about the suffering of that loss, describing it as awful for a father to lose his son. His union with Alan persisted until 1982. Over the ensuing years, Curtis had 2 more short-lived marriages. In 1984, initially to Andrea Savio, which concluded 1992, and subsequently to Lisa Deutsch, whom he wed in 1993 before divorcing only a year later. His 6th and last marriage to a woman named Jill Vandenberg, 45 years younger than him. The pair first connected in 1993 and got married in 1998. Curtis frequently dismissed his age. Distinction with confidence and humor. "We laugh a lot," he said. "My body functions well, and everything is good. She is the I've never met a more attractive woman." He also said that their partnership was characterized by happiness and kinship, not worried about health, death, and the passage of time. Curtis's medical conditions were strongly related to his ongoing substance abuse issues, mistreatment. However, the more hazardous turn arrived a few years later. While Lepka was being filmed during 1974, when his Hollywood career had started to wane, Curtis turned into severely dependent on cocaine. It was a dark period as there were fewer roles available and his inner demons became more powerful. Inez was admitted to the hospital in 1984 with terminal hepatic cirrhosis, harm brought on by years of abusing cocaine and alcohol. Willing to take back his life, Curtis moved into the Betty Ford Clinic. That was a watershed moment. He freely devoted to getting better and started talking regarding the difficulties associated with addiction, being a unique, honest voice in Ann's sector that frequently avoided such subjects. However, the health problems persisted. There. Curtis had heart surgery in 1994, thought bypass surgery following a heart attack assault. Furthermore, in July 2010, he was back in the hospital. It's time for an asthma attack brought on by a book signing in the city of Henderson, Nevada. He had decided to spend his senior years there, years of peaceful retirement beside his spouse, Curtis, Jill Vandenberg, when he was already dealing with persistent obstructive lung conditions, COPD, a disorder that his widow subsequently claimed to be the result of a lifetime of smoking, even though he had given up 3 decades in the past. Paradoxically, during the Curtis had been a public advocate in the 1960s, opposing smoking, including acting as I Quit Smoking Club President of America. During Curtis's last days, considering his life to date and the legacy he desired to establish. Days. Before he passed away, photographer Andy Gott paid him a visit at his house in Nevada for a photo shoot. Curtis clearly allegedly said, "Can you help? Do I look like an icon once more?" It was an upsetting incident that revealed a lot about his self-knowledge and his persistent wish to be regarded as more than merely a star, but as a representation of fortitude. On 29th September 2010, Tony Curtis passed away, aged 85 years old due to cardiac arrest at this Henderson residence. He was laid to rest at Palm Memorial on October 4th, Park Cemetery. People came to his funeral. By prominent figures and close relatives' friends, such as his daughters Kelly and California's Jamie Lee Curtis comedian and Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger Itu Inti, entertainer Vera Gould, and Rich Little. Among the honorary pallbearers was MGM mogul, the legendary Kirk Kieran of Hollywood Douglas and Phyllis McGuire, a singer, names that conveyed the scope of the appearance of Curtis in entertainment past. Consistent with his lively character and penchant for the dramatic, Curtis was interred with a number of treasured things: an Armani scarf, a Stetson hat, and his favorite pair of driving gloves unique, as well as his iPhone. These symbolic mementos gave a profound, adding a personal touch to a man's farewell who had led a courageous life and fashion. 5 months prior to his passing, Curtis made headlines through the revision of his will. In a move that surprised a lot of people, he, in particular, kept all of his kids out of obtaining any portion of his property, leaving Jill, his wife, in charge of everything. He provided no formal justification for the choice, one that included a finillated additional element of mystery to his already vibrant life. After his death, an auction of Curtis's private property was kept by the auction house Julian's. The sale increased more than $1 million with highlights containing an Andy Warhol picture which produced $53,000, and the jacket in the sailor style that he deemed the "Some Like It Hot" outfit, which brought in $48,000. The intense curiosity for the memorabilia demonstrated that even in passing, Curtis remained a well-liked and recognizable person. Jamie Lee Curtis, an actress, is his daughter, encapsulated his legacy in a sincere declaration to the Associated Press. Maya Parent leaves a legacy of outstanding performances in paintings, films, in collages as well. He departs from kids and households that cherished and admired him and his global fan base. He will be sorely missed. Yes, Tony Curtis was more than a movie star. He was a multifaceted individual, a talented performer, a flawed yet courageous individual, and someone who was constantly looking for significance, beauty, and atonement in each stage of life. If you found this enjoyable, explore the life of a legendary celebrity, remember to subscribe, like, and leave a comment with your ideas. Do below. In what way did Tony Curtis's life struck a chord with you most? Let's maintain the ongoing discussion.